again, thanks everyone for joining us. Um, and I want to go over all of the different kinds of information that we've got available through MCATLAS. And we have it sort of in a couple of different forms. And I'll start with the main MCATLAS. And so you can just enter MCATLAS or mcatlas.org into any browser, and you should get the page that you're seeing now. It'll be a map of Montgomery County with a boundary showing and nothing else. But you should also see a table of contents to the left that has all of the different kinds of layers that we serve through MCATLAS. And there's quite a lot. So for example, we have information about master plans, the ones that are in progress, master plans that have been adopted, and so on. But this evening, we want to talk specifically about historic preservation stuff. So if you scroll down, you'll see historic preservation photos and historic preservation information. So let's click on historic preservation information, and then we have to expand this. You'll notice the little arrow to the side, because the default is that none of these sub-layers are actually visible. That's why when I first checked it, nothing came on. So I can turn on our burial sites, proximate, known. There are some whose the locations are redacted. And then we've got National Register sites, National Register historic districts, our own master plan historic sites, master plan historic districts, locational atlas individual sites, locational atlas historic preservation districts, park-owned historic sites, heritage areas, and historic easements. So it's quite a lot. I'm going to turn off the heritage areas because they sort of cover a lot of real estate. And you can navigate this in a couple of different ways. You can zoom in, and as you do that, the property layer will come on, and you can see things in a little bit more detail. You can also enter an address that you might be looking for. So it's Wheaton, Maryland. And here I can zoom in on Aspen Hill, the pet cemetery, and clicking on that will bring up a window of information about the master plan historic site. And from here, I can open up the form, and this is the Maryland Inventory of Historic Places form for Aspen Hill Pet Cemetery, and this is the file that's been sent on to the Maryland Historical Trust, although it's actually being served off our own server. So there is that. I'd like to close that. So that's true of anything in here. You can click on a cemetery site, and here this is the Avery Road Cemetery, Smith Family Cemetery. Again, there are a number of information fields here, and then there are links to. We actually have 3 different sets of forms going on. Here's the cover sheet from the first major inventory. 2018 gets you the form that was prepared by MPI volunteers, and then this happens to be one where we've actually updated things, and we have generated our own form internal to Montgomery Planning, and this is for updates to sites and new sites. So as it happens, I went out to this site this past year, and through the deed research found it. And you'll see I actually found some grave markers that were still on site, although the cemetery itself has been moved. In any case, so that will be for all of the cemeteries that are there. Other things about this tool, I think this should that will, well, I've turned off location. If you have locational abilities turned on, like if you're accessing this through a smartphone, it would zoom the view to wherever you are currently located. You'll also notice there are a number of tools up here. So you can make a measurement if you want. I haven't done this before. All right, you can draw a line and get some measurements. I'm not sure how useful that is. Depends on what you're doing. The base map gallery is potentially useful. So you may perhaps want to view current aerial imagery, and that will pull this up. Some other useful things to know here. Development review. Let's see, where is, oh, okay. All right, so you'll notice there is a section, regulatory plans. I mean, some of you may occasionally have questions about review projects that are happening in areas of the county that you may be interested in. Let's go back to this. No, that's not the one I want. For that map. Okay. So for example, if you want to find out about preliminary plans, you can highlight those and go to the area of the county that you may want. In terms of searching for those, let me see. I wonder if you can search for a particular plan. Let's try this. Some of these, yeah, so for certain layers, not all of them, but for certain layers, like some of the development review, if you enter the application number in the find box, it will actually pull it up. It's not going to work for all of them, but it will work for some things. Trying to see if it also works for site plans, for example. All right, I think it might. Go back home, pretend we don't know where the site plan is. Yeah, so again, if you know the number of a particular site plan that you've heard about, or a certain development project, MCATLAS can help you find where that is, and then you can see for yourself how that may relate to properties that are on our master plan, or cemeteries, or anything else that is important to you. Another item that's in here that is potentially of interest, we have historic preservation photos. Turn off the development reviews. Okay, I'm going to turn off historic preservation information so it's not too cluttered. All right, so each of these blue dots represent georeferenced photographs that we have in our collections. So you click on one of those, and in this instance, you wait a moment. All right, so let's find out what is this. Okay, so this is related to all right, St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church, and it looks like we've got some photographs of it, and they're 10. So you can scroll through. I think I can make this bigger, maybe. Anyway, but we have these photographs. I wonder if you can download these. Yeah, so you can.
At the top, you should be able to make it larger next to the X at the top, I think.
Yeah, there we go. It's kind of larger, but you can download it also. And in any case, so we've got photographs for a lot of resources throughout the county, as you can see by all these blue dots. So that can be useful. Now, a lot of people may want to search for a specific historic property by name, and that's not, unfortunately, from the main MCATLAS, we can't, I don't think you can do, yeah, you can't do that from here. So you have to, we do have two other specialized viewers that you can use, though, to search for a property by name. So I'm going to now switch over to our main historic preservation website. So this is montgomeryplanning.org, planning historic. And here we've got another version of MCATLAS that you can pull up, and it's under the tab Find Historic Properties. So pulling up that, you get another version of MCATLAS. Here it is. And I can click here to make this full screen. And we'll wait a moment for that to load. Okay. So again, this says, so these are all of our master plan sites, but here now it's searchable by name, and it's actually by any, it'll look for the string. So if I start typing church, you will see a lot of things have fallen off the map, and the only things left are churches, for example. You can, if you remember, so if you only remember part of the name, not the whole name, that's okay. So Magruder, I remember that it had Magruder in the title. All right, so you start to type Magruder, and you're going to get the all of the historic properties that have Magruder in the name. So I can click on the Magruder blacksmith shop and get pulled down to that location. I click on it, and the basic information for it pops up. And again, I can click on the link to get the form that has all of the particulars about that site. So that can be very useful for you if you're trying to, if you want to look for a specific form. And also, again, because the real property is in here as well. If you want to go back to the other MCATLAS, you can get the address from here, and then go back to the other MCATLAS and look up that address so you can find out, well, is there an active development project near that particular historic property that I'm interested in. And lastly, we have a version of MCATLAS that's tailored specifically to burial sites, and you can find that in a couple of ways. So again, if you're at our main historic preservation website, you can scroll down to all these different tabs and find the burial sites inventory program website. Excuse me. And this website has a variety of information, including links to the ordinances, the ordinance that created the inventory in the first place, and then the ordinance that requires review of cemeteries during subdivisions, as well as other links. We've got the guidelines that we developed in the first year of the program that the planning board approved. And there is a link to a version of MCATLAS that's specific to burial sites. And again, we can pull that up so it's full screen. And if you just want a shortcut, it's just mcatlas.org/burial sites, all one word. And here you're going to get a map of the county again that has all of the burial sites pulled up. I'm going to move that off to the side. So the green circles here are the known locations. The hollow circles are those are approximate sites that we don't know exactly where they are. And right now, the approximate sites are designed to drop out once you get to a point where the property lines kick in. The idea of that was to avoid a false sense of precision about where the site is. In any case, you can click on any dot, and again, it pulls up the information about that specific cemetery, including links to whatever forms are available for that site. On the right-hand side, there's a little bit of information about the map and what's in it, and what the distinction is between known and approximate sites. If it gets in the way, you can just close that. If you want to get it back again, you click on the I for information. So you can control what's showing here. You pull up a legend that shows what it's showing at the moment. You can also pick layers. You may find the default is to include parcels and address layers. You might find this view kind of cluttered. You can turn off the address labels, or you can turn off the parcel lines, so you're just looking at topography or the dots. And again, as in the other versions of MCATLAS, you can pull up a base map gallery and pick any one of several different aerial photographs, or any of these base maps, whatever gives you the information that's most useful for you at the time. Not sure what that does. Well, you can draw a line on it if you want. So, I mean, you can if you want to mark up the map, you can use these tools to do that, and then you can print out what you've done. So, for example, if you have a question, or you want to, if you're looking through MCATLAS and it seems like a location is mapped incorrectly, which definitely happens, you can use those tools to mark up MCATLAS on your computer and print it out and send it to us. And we can look into whatever the question is that you had, or if there's a mistake, or if you know of a new property, a new cemetery that you've learned about that's not included, you can mark its location and send that to us. So another tool I want to talk about that not very many people know about is this tab down here at the bottom. And so this provides an opportunity to do some searches. So well, actually, let me step back for 1 minute. We do have so again, here's you can enter an address, and it'll zoom you off to that address. But we do have a search by name tool for the burial sites. The one hitch is that because we have different display scales for known versus unknown cemeteries, they're kind of in there as two different layers. So you have to search by what it is. So so if I search under approximate for Morningstar Tabernacle, it's not going to come up, because we that's a known. So I'll try that, and it didn't find it. But of course, if I search under known for Morningstar, and again, any part of the name, it will find it. So if you don't remember the whole name of the cemetery, that's okay. You don't remember Morningstar Tabernacle number 88 cemetery, any part of that you enter, and it'll find it and zoom in on it for you. So that's handy for finding a cemetery by name. But you may want to search on some other things, and that is possible, although a little bit trickier. And that involves using the filter function. So say you want to look for cemeteries of a particular date. For some cemeteries, not all of them, but for some of them, we have earliest and latest date for the burials. So let's go to, and it won't work for approximate probably, because mostly with the approximates there aren't known stones. But if we go to known sites, you'll that's not what I wanted to do. So you'll notice you get all the attribute table for the whole inventory. And if you click on one of these rows, if I double click on it, it's going to zoom into that particular. It's going to zoom into that particular record. Let's go back out. Let's do it. So let's do a search on. Let's say I want to see the cemeteries that have burials that predate 1850. So I'm going to go over here to options. I'm going to click on the arrow, and then I'm going to select a filter. And then I have to build an expression. So I'm going to add an expression, and basically we're going to go this this first window lists all the attributes that we have available. So I'm going to go to where our earliest burial date, okay, and I'm going to say is less than 1850. So this is going to find all of the cemeteries that have burial sites less than 1850. And I'm going to hit OK. And you'll notice that a bunch of burial sites dropped out. But you'll notice there are also anything that's blank where we either don't know or haven't entered a burial date, it's going to be a 0. So we probably want to clear all those out because that's not really telling us what we want to know. So I'll go back to filter, and I'm going to add another expression. And again, earliest burial, but this time I'm going to say is greater than 0. So I'll just knock all those zeros out because I'm not interested in those. So you see a bunch more fell out. So now all the burial sites in this list have burials that there are some burials that predate 1850, and you can set that number to anything that you would want, or any of these other attributes that we have. So again, here are all the attributes that are available. We don't right now have like whether it's a family burial site, church burial site, or African American burial site in here yet. I think we're planning on putting those in there because I think those are attributes that people may want to be able to search on. So we plan to add that, but it's not there right now. You may also want to, pull up, say, the current form. So that's essentially going to get rid of these other ones. Let's see, is not blank. So this is going to be all of the cemeteries that have sort of the newer forms, and so that in a way this is going to get you some of the newer sites that we've added or amended for one reason or another. I'm actually not sure why it's showing all of the approximate sites and all of the known ones that for which, because we've only applied this filter to known sites. We haven't applied it to approximate sites. So those are the main points I wanted to touch on. That's a lot of information, and you probably have questions. So we've been going for not quite half an hour. So why don't I open up the floor to questions? And you can either raise your hand, enter a question in the chat, or I mean, you can just go ahead and speak out, but if everybody speaks at once, it might get confusing. And if anybody has got a specific question, like something that they would like to look up in MCATLAS, I can see if I can find it for you. This is an example. So, Julian has asked where one can find the supporting information from the 2018 survey. I'm talking about the summary, statistics, watch list, etc. So what we have on here is no, it's not what I wanted. It's whatever was included on the form. So we don't have additional information, although some of these have links. For example, they have links to findagrave.com. For our newer forms, I've added links to the Maryland Inventory of Historic Places form, if there is one. If it shows up in the Maryland Tombstone Transcription Project. I will put a link in for that, and so on. But other information that's in our files that's not available online currently, but you can certainly query me, and I will look up what it is that you're trying to find. And thank you, Julian, for that link. We also have some summary information about the 2018 cemetery revisited project on our website. Other questions? Must have been a little like drinking out of a fire hydrant because I showed a lot of information kind of quickly, especially with writing queries for filters. If anybody wants me to go over that again, please let me know. It looks like somebody's maybe got a hand up. Paige, go ahead.
That would be me. I can't type this evening. I think you answered this, but I just wanted to confirm. So each known burial site has some type of form or linked information to it?
Correct.
Okay.
And the approximate ones do too.
Okay.
All of the cemeteries have, whatever. I mean, some of the approximate ones are. So here's I've clicked on the Magruder James Family Cemetery. It wasn't refound in 2018, so the 2006 cover form. This is all we got right now. No, I am actively working as hard on all of the approximate sites to try to find additional information about them. And where I find it, I add, I update the inventory and bring that before the board. And so in a handful of cases, I've been able to locate approximate or lost cemeteries. We've been able to find through sometimes deed research, or we find them information on Maryland Inventory of Historic Places forms, archaeological site forms, a variety of sources that have sometimes helped in tracing down information that we didn't have.
Okay, and that was my follow-up question. If there was new information that could be added,
oh yeah,
it would go through you,
yes,
Maryland Historical Trust, or you, what?
So for updates to the burial sites inventory, please do send those to me. I brief the planning board every year in May, usually at the end of May, with any updates that we've had to the burial sites inventory over the preceding year for them to consider and to formally adopt. And we've had, I think this past year, we had something like 20 changes, including a number of new cemetery sites that we added. So that happens every year, and I'm working pretty much constantly to improve the inventory. I mean, there are several sites that are subject of active investigations right now. I mean, a number of members of the public contact me with new information, either from something that they've seen on the ground, or records that they have found. Sandra, for example, not to call you out, Sandra, but Sandra, in doing some research, found a newspaper advertisement that referenced a cemetery. It was, I think it was the Washington Star, Sandra. In any case, I followed up with that, and confirmed that there was indeed a deed reservation that referenced a family burial site at that location, mapped the deeds, found historic maps indicating where the family house was, and followed from there. And so that one's still in the works. As it happens, that one's located on federal land, so we're coordinating now with that agency federal preservation officer to let them know that there appears to have been a family cemetery on their grounds. Anyway, so yeah, we're updating all the time. Let's see what else. Oh, let me go to chat. So, okay, we've got a couple of questions in the chat. So Jim Douglas has asked, what is the status of information about racial covenants and related info that historic preservation staff are doing. That's a separate initiative. John Lieberts is leading that. I want to rather leave it to him to answer that. You can email any of us at Historic Preservation, and we can, if you don't remember the name John Lieberts, email any of us in Historic Preservation, and we can pass your query on to him or to Rebecca Ballo, and they can give you the latest on the mapping segregation project. It's not an MCATLAS right now, if that is where you're going with that question, but it's certainly information that we're actively working on, and I'm sure our intention is to share that. So Sandra was asking again how to measure property area. Very useful. Well, honestly, I know how to. I'm not 100% for sure how to do that. Let's zoom in on a property though. So the parcel, the area is available, and I've turned that layer off. So let's go. Let me turn the parcels back on. So let's. All right, so Gates of Heaven Cemetery. All right, so we'll click on, and this is, you'll notice I've clicked on the cemetery, and it's actually outlined the parcel boundary, because I didn't click on the dot for the cemetery, I clicked on the parcel. So it's outlined the boundary in blue, and then what comes up is all the information that we have from SDAT, the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. So and we don't, we serve these data, but the data are actually maintained by the state, not by us. But in here has the area. So you have to hunt for it. The items in the list are not in, I find, the most logical order. Okay, come on, it's in here. If you want to look up okay, so a taxable area, 127 acres. But that's, I think there are other places where area is given. Okay, so all right. Well, it looks like taxable area maybe is giving that, but I thought it was somewhere else. But anyway, this will give you the area of any given parcel that's shown in MCATLAS, as well as all of the other information that SDAT hosts.
Brian,
Yep.
can you hear me? So
yes.
Can you get up the measurement tool that you had before where you clicked
yes.
and put a line?
I think that was on regular MCATLAS. So let's go back to that.
Right.
And
Okay,
here's
so
a
click the ruler, right?
Right.
So it's just very useful if you make sure also you turn on the property lines. Sometimes you're reading a deed and it tells you it's, 20 acres or whatever. Sometimes it's helpful. You can guess by trying to measure a parcel and measure an area of a parcel and see, that might have been the 20 acres described in the deed. So you have three choices up here. You can measure, before you get up the feet or the miles, or you choose whether you want to measure a distance or measure area. There's three icons there, and then and then you, like, let's say you want to choose an area, you can do what Brian's doing, and you can have chosen whether you want acres or square feet or so forth. And so that's just a very useful tool when you're doing historic research, that you could say, well, this looks like maybe this might have been, let me measure this area and see if that conforms to, for example, the cemetery that was reserved from a deed when a deed was sold. It says, oh, 1 acre cemetery. Let me see if this little weird piece over here is an acre. And sometimes you can say, oh, look, it's an acre. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. So that's why I wanted you to show people how to do that.
Great. Thank you, Sandra. So Julianne's asking about linking supplemental reports. We don't have that right now, I guess and you're right, there is potentially a lot of information that may be of value. Well, all I can say is, you know, if you've got suggestions for stuff that's not in MCATLAS right now, you know, send me a suggestion and say, I would like to see such and such added to MCATLAS, and I can get back to you with actually it seems we do have that, or thank you for the suggestion, and we'll consider it and let you know if we're able to add it or not, and so forth. So so yeah, suggestions are definitely welcome. Let's see. Glenn, I don't think the measuring tool is available on the burial sites map, only the MC. I think that's right. Let's go back to the. No, I can ask our yeah, we don't have a measuring tool. You know, if that's a tool that would be useful for you, I can request it from our IT folks, and they can let me know if they can add it to this viewer or not. It should be possible, and if we've got it on one version of MCATLAS, well, actually, I mean, and burial sites after all are on main MCATLAS, so so that's another way of getting, if you're interested in using the measure tool with burial sites. Okay. All right, so Sandra is asking in the chat, can we add to MCATLAS a way to map out deed, meets, and bounds? That's tougher, Sandra. I kind of doubt it. There certainly, I have a tool in ArcMap, which is you know, our desktop GIS that lets me do that. So not very satisfying, but you can, if you've got a deed that you would like to see mapped that relates to one or another of our historic properties or our burial sites, you can ask me, and if I've got time, I can do that and then share it with you. But no, I doubt that that's going to be a tool that we could add to MCATLAS. It's not as I don't think that's a straightforward one. In fact, not everybody, you have to have a particular license within ArcMap to be able to do that. There are some other, sorry everybody, that was some of the joys of mice. There are other, there's a walkshed tool. This is, you know, this is, I think, if I click on a spot, let's see. Walkshed origin is required. Honestly, I haven't done this, so sorry. All right, so I think that's how you do it. All right, click at a point, okay. And then I want to find out what's within a half a mile walk of that, and it's thinking about it. Still thinking about it. I may quickly regret that suggested showing this. Hopefully, all right. So, so that's sort of this is a tool that if you're part of an area that has a master plan that's being reviewed, or a new master plan, and are interested in the walkability of a neighborhood, that's a tool that can help you sort that out. That's what that's designed to do. I think I can clear that. Elevation profile. I think the idea here is, all right. I'm sorry, my mouse is going to make everybody seasick. Right now, it's thinking about okay. So that tool gives you an elevation profile in feet, and then you can run your mouse along it, and tells you this one's pretty steep. Actually, I would not have expected that. But yeah, so So that's a way, if you have questions about the topography near a cemetery or a burial site, that's one way of getting at that question. And that's of note for cemeteries, because we've learned so far that our cemeteries in the county tend to be on elevated locations, terrace edges and hilltops and so on. They don't, there are exceptions, but they don't tend to be down in valleys, though they are sometimes. Okay.
So Brian, where was that tool? How did you get that up? Sandra.
That's, hi Sandra. It's right here. Let me kill that. So it's in underneath the find address or place in main MCATLAS. There's a walk shed tool, and then there yeah, elevation profile and a walk shed tool. And what's this guy? I don't know what ISU radar is, to be quite honest with you. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that is. But anyway, you can find that out if anybody is really interested in finding out what ISU radar is referring to. Other
I have
questions?
another question.
Sure, shoot.
So on the layers, we have a parks historic sites on the normal MCATLAS,
That's correct.
right? And is that the same as what Parks calls its cultural resource atlas sites? Because it includes things that are not, strictly speaking, locational atlas or master plan sites.
Is Jamie Ferguson still on the call? Hey Jamie.
Yes, I am.
Sorry to
Hi,
put you on
I'm
the
not
spot.
sure if I have the best answer, Sandra. So, Joey Lample, who's now retired, worked on this layer with Jim Sorensen years ago based on the strategic plan for cultural resources.
Okay.
So this includes, frankly, any building that they deemed historic, they put into cultural resources inventory. And subsequently, right before COVID hit, we started revising that and making adjustments. And whether or not that information has actually been uploaded is still a question that we're trying to answer. So there are things that are going to be on the locational atlas or master plan, and then there are things that are not, that we internally deemed historic and put them in our inventory, which basically means we're responsible for their upkeep.
Okay. So you internally deem certain things historic, even if they're not on some other list, and you're
Yes.
responsible for their upkeep. And then at some point, then will this park's historic layer reflect all of your?
I pray to God that it will, Sandra, because I worked a really long time to make edits. So yes, I mean, the person that we had working on it, he took a new job, and again, it was during COVID, and hiring people to fill these spots is taking a lot of time. So, and then making sure the information that we gave him is still viable and still with those GIS folks. So we're still working on it. But yes, I mean, the hope is to streamline it and update it so that it's accurate and current. That's the hope for sure.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate
Sure.
that.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie, for hopping in there on that. Any other questions about MCATLAS? Any of the stuff that we've gone over tonight?
I have a question. So since I see names of attendees, the content that is from the 2018 cemetery inventory sites, are those forms, do you know, you or Eileen or Glenn, is that content all ADA compliant?
Gonna guess no. I mean, so ADA compliant means that there's like descriptive text with the
Yes.
images. So I'm gonna go with no. And
Okay.
honestly, our new ones aren't either. I need to work on that actually.
Okay.
So that's I regret to say that's a no.
Okay. It's okay. I understand. I wanted to verify that. I mean, that was my gut, because frankly, I can say for my content, it's largely also not ADA compliant, and I'm trying to fix it. So I just wanted to know if that was applicable for that information as well.
So I'll say that going forward, that I will add that as, you know, an item list for the new forms that we're generating for, you know, new forms. I'm generating those for new sites that were added or sites that we've adjusted. And I'm working eventually to have all those updated forms for the whole inventory. And I'll make it a point to make those ADA compliant. I think it's probably a bridge too far to go back and do all the 2018 forms, and
Yeah.
that would be a monumental effort. And it makes more sense
Yes.
to just have to make all of the new forms ADA compliant. But you raised a very good point, and you might even shoot me an email to remind me that I should do that, so that I don't forget.
Okay. Thank you.
And Brian, Sandra here again. So another question is that I see on certain sites, like on the historic layers, let's just say like Pars Spring, and the research form seems to have been lost. Do you know anything about whether we're ever going to get all those research forms, including all the ones I wrote, back up?
I'm sorry.
Well,
Which research forms? Sorry.
Well, so there are a number of sites where we did research forms, and this is not cemeteries, it's just historic
Right.
resources.
Yeah.
So for example, if you go to the very, very tippy part of the county and
Right.
zoom very far in at that very tip, eventually you'll see a dot that shows you it's a historic site, although you certainly can't see it now.
Let me turn everything on so that I'll see it.
Yeah, you really have to zoom way in,
All right.
which is maybe a problem. Maybe it should be visible when it's zoomed out, but it's a teeny tiny site because it's a boundary marker.
I made a poor choice in mouse for this particular park
Okay,
smart.
zoom way in, way in, and eventually a color will come up if you have the historic sites on.
Yes,
Right,
I
you
see it.
see the
There it
tiny.
is.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
so I wrote it like that's one of an example that where I wrote a big form for that,
Okay.
and we get
wow.
this, and we get this on a
Wow.
number of
Okay.
sites,
Okay.
and
I did not know that.
I'm just
Okay.
wondering, you know, if maybe if there's any, could we get those forms back up? And if there's a problem, could you all contact me? Maybe
Yeah.
I could dig up my forms.
Is there an MIHP form? Because they're
There's just the research form that I did. And when I
Okay.
did all these research forms for the
Okay.
upper Patuxent, some of them were sent over to MHT and some weren't, but they're all pretty
Okay.
thorough research forms.
All right.
So it might remind Rebecca, and you know, if there's a problem, maybe they can talk to me if they can't find the forms.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thanks.
If you have a list of sites that you know are missing that information, let me know. I'm not sure I have an easy way. I'll look in our GIS to see if I have a way of finding sites with broken links like that. But I don't know if I have a way to find them systematically or not. So
Okay.
in case I don't, go ahead and you know, shoot me an email, and I will inquire and find out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay. So Linda is asking in the chat, can you tell me how to find the definition of a county land use category? That's a good question. And that's this is where where I'm an archaeologist, and even though there is the word planner occurs in my title, I'm an archaeologist by training, not a planner. So I don't know I don't know offhand. However, I can get you to someone who does have that answer. So if you want to shoot me an email, I will forward your inquiry to someone who definitely knows the answer to that question. Sorry that I don't.
And Brian, could I say that? So this is Sandra again. Sometime, I forget how I've done it in the past, but sometimes I've typed just in Google, you know, Montgomery County land use code, and land use category, because I've done something like that, and I've been able to come up with a list. And often I can see that something is, oh, look, this 3 numbers is such and such. And there have been other ways I've done it too. So I
Yeah.
I
But you can
don't.
also, thank you. You might find the answer on montgomeryplanning.org as well. There's a lot of information here about about all of the things that that we do, planning, development, our various tools. So if you can't find it here, I would not hesitate to contact us with your question, and someone will get back to you. But I'm not a land use expert.
Oh, I see that we have a land use code directory on Montgomery Planning.
Okay.
And it says, so I just typed it into Google, land use code directory. Let me, it says it's no longer updated, but it's a development review page. Let me click on the PDF. Montgomery County Land Use Coding Manual. Let's see. And yeah, it has numbers like 121, rooming and boarding house. So I don't know how up to date this is, but I guess the best answer is that you should find out, Brian.
Yeah.
But it's on that web page. It's on a.
Yeah. Yeah. So here I've got what I think Sandra was referring to, and it looks like it's under development about land coding. So if I go back to planning, no, it was under development. Maybe under zoning. Well, anyway. But anyway, we've got a lot of information in the planning department for all of the different all of our different departments and activities that we have. So if I can't get you to the right answer, well, we can get you there. Other questions? And again, don't hesitate to offer suggestions of things that you'd like to be able to see in MCATLAS. If it's something that we can do, we'll look into it.
Okay. All right.
And I had planned for this to go until 8. If anybody has any last minute questions, go ahead and ask them now.
Yeah. Brian, can you tell us, this is Eileen, can you tell us anything about your blog and how to access that and what how you're thinking of using it over this next year? And
so the blog, I'll share my screen again. It's the Third Place blog. And honestly, I just, I'm sure I can find it from our website, but it's the Third Place.
and tell us a little bit about it.
So the Third Place, it's the blog for the whole department. So there are items posted here about anything going on in planning. So montgomeryplanning.org blog-design, or you can Google Third Place, the Third Place, and we've got all kinds of things here. I've put up a handful. I'm kind of overdue for a blog. Here's one, sort of the last one that I did last spring about finding lost cemeteries. So if anybody has a suggestion of anything you'd like to see me blog about, I will put that into consideration as well. We might actually do a short blog on this training, and perhaps with a link to information about it. That's a possibility if that's of interest. But these are just these are just short pieces. I'll scroll down to the last one I did. So they're typically just a handful of paragraphs and usually a few pictures. And to get to the question about, these are ADA compliant. So if you had a screen reader, for example, all of these images would have text that a screen reader would read out that basically describes what's in the image. And that's for people that are not able to see the images themselves. So that gets back to the question that Jamie had asked earlier about whether some of our forms are ADA compliant. That's really what's at issue. It's having text tagged to an image that a screen reader can read out. So if anybody was wondering what that was. And so our third place blog, our communications team will always make sure that we don't forget, because they won't post it if we have.
Okay. Oh.
And you can search the third place blog as well for any topics, or I think by author. Okay. Any last questions before I let you all go for the evening?
So,
Eileen?
yeah, so this recording will be up on the Montgomery Planning website soon.
I will find out how we go about doing that. But yes, we have been recording this evening, and the intention was to make that available for people who wanted, especially people who weren't able to attend tonight. I'll have to find out what our protocol is, whether it's something that I email out a link, or if it's something we actually formally post on the website for people to click on. I'll find that out and let everyone know.
Okay, thank you.
Again, thanks everybody for attending. I'm glad that there was a lot of interest in this. I hope that was useful. If a question occurs to you afterward, don't hesitate to drop me a line and ask. And as I said a couple of times, you've got suggestions about things to add to MCATLAS, let me know, and I'll look into that as well. All right. So great. Thanks everybody, and have a good night.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Brian, it's Sandra. I just wanted to tell you, I found it on MCATLAS where you find the land use codes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe if you go to MCATLAS and you turn on, let's say, the parcel lines, okay, and then you click on a parcel, and up comes the ownership information and so forth. And then you click on the link at the top of the window that has all the information. It says data description. You click on data description and you get a PDF,
yep,
which has a bunch of stuff in it. And if you scroll down in that PDF far enough, you come to a page with lots of codes, with the land use codes.
Okay.
So
okay.
like on page 5 of that PDF.
All right.
Okay, and so then you can see that 111 is single family detached. So in other words, you don't have to leave MCATLAS to find the PDF that has the land use codes. You just put up the parcel lines, turn on the layer for the parcel lines, click on the parcel, a little window pops up, and at the top of the window is a link that says data description. Click on data description, you get a PDF, and when you scroll down in that PDF to about page 5, you start getting the land use codes.
Indeed you do.
Okay?
Thanks, Sandra.
All right.
Great. All right,
Okay.
and with that, thanks again, everybody, and have a good night.
Okay, good night, and thank you so much.
Most welcome.